Right now, the Trump administration looks a little like this crazy woman.
No, please.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Thank God that's AI. Because right now, as we speak, Dan Bongino is threatening to quit over Pam Bondi's disgusting rollout of the Epstein files. Apparently, Dan Bongino is very, very angry. He is out of control, furious, and he says that he is going to quit unless Pam Bondi gets freaking fired. Now, there's reports as well that Kash Patel is right behind him, that he is willing to quit as well over this Pam Bondi incident and how her terrible rollout with the Epstein files. But I still can't get this little ditty out of my head.
Talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years.
So could you resolve what?
Sure, if I could.
Could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah.
This guy's been talked about for years.
Yeah.
You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we
Yeah.
have all of the things.
No, we're still talking about him, and apparently even his own administration is talking about him as Dan Bongino is threatening to quit. Kash Patel is threatening to quit. It's all-out mayhem right now. Right now with Dan Bongino, I'm gonna give it the Dan Bongino effect. I'm gonna think about quitting for 72 hours. The Dan Bongino effect. I want to quit too. If you leave, I'm leaving, boo-boo. If you leave, I'm leaving. Guys, I did my best, okay? I just want to work on Fox News. Can you imagine me on Fox 5 in a short skirt showing my legs? It's going to be amazing. That was my whole dream all along. The craziest part right now is if you go on TPUSA, they had an event last night. They had an absolute event with Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly, and many others. And they all said the same thing about Epstein working for Mossad. What? I thought that was anti-Semitic to say, but Tucker Carlson destroys that argument right here. Listen to this.
Acceptable. And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from?
Not her fault.
And no
just
one
the
has
blonde.
ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried.
What's up, Michael?
And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government.
Oh.
Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There is nothing hateful about saying that. There's nothing anti-Semitic about saying. There's nothing even anti-Israel about saying that. I've spent my entire life pretty much in Washington, where I knew and loved a number of people, including one very close person who worked at CIA.
I'm right here. Thank you.
That has never prohibited me from saying, I think the CIA has done some horrible things, murdered a bunch of people, participated in the murder of a sitting U.S. president. It's got a whole trail of crimes.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me a disloyal American. It doesn't make me anti-American in any sense. I was born here. My family's been here for hundreds of years. I love this country. That's why I live here. So criticizing the behavior of a government agency does not make you a hater. It makes you a free person. It makes you a citizen. You're allowed to do that because you're not a slave. You're a citizen.
And I'm a slave to my dual loyalty and my Apex sponsors. So that being said, Tucker Carlson, you're an anti-Semite. It was crazy to even watch with Tucker Carlson saying that, and even Laura Ingraham. Can we pump this chick full of more Botox? She's looking fantastic on stage. MK Ultra, probably. Okay, check out Pam Bondi. Dude, all these, every single Fox News person looks alike. Like, it doesn't matter their age. It's the same haircut. We like our Fox News women with a short haircut that touches the shoulders just ever so slightly, and enough Ozempic to make them look skinny the rest of their life. We actually give our Fox News hosts at least triple the dose of Ozempic just to keep them thin and looking good. But even Laura Ingraham came out against Epstein. Listen to this.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. Okay.
She said clap, idiots.
Yeah, I told you to clap.
Oh.
You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
You're not satisfied with the results?
He did work for an intelligence agency. Say why you said.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
That had been Trump the whole time he was watching TPUSA. And I'm curious how this all gets broken down, as Dan Bongino is threatening to quit. Same with Kash Patel. Now, the Kash Patel stuff is very interesting to me. I can't tell if the Kash Patel stuff is serious. Even on Real America's Voice, this man says this about Kash Patel.
Reports out there tonight that Kash Patel is considering resigning alongside of Dan Bongino. It is not true. My reporting makes very clear Kash Patel is going nowhere unless the president tries to move Kash Patel. He's there for the long haul. Why is that? Because the FBI has a major investigation that looks at the last 10 years of what happened to Donald Trump as one large conspiracy case. No one's going to give that opportunity up. Now, it is true, Dan Bongino is taking a few days to reconsider whether he wants to stay in the job.
Yeah, Dan Bongino is taking a few days to stay in the job. It's called the Dan Bongino, well, this is Dan Bongino rule. We wait 24 to 72 hours. So I'm curious how this all breaks down right before our eyes, but apparently we're going to be excited about the news, because that's what this guy says on Real America's Voice.
That's his decision. He's gone through these things before. There have been times when he's been on radio, he got mad, took a couple days off. I bet you he'll come back.
He just called Dan Bongino a woman. How dare you, man? He got mad on his podcast and he had to wait 72 hours to come back because he was just PMSing too hard. How dare you? That's going to offend at least 100,000 boomers that I personally know. You can't make fun of Dan Bongino to people's face. They will literally lose their mind about that. Junior says the border, the economy, stopping DI. I'll worry about the investigation of Epstein documents. Trump closed the border. Anything else he does is extra. He made America great just doing that. I'm totally with you. I care more about the border and deporting people, but this is a big deal. And if the government is beholden to somebody else, that is a huge deal. That goes deeper than just the border wall. And I think as an American, you should be wanting that kind of clarity and figuring out what's going on. Because if you don't want that kind of clarity, will we ever really have our own government? Continue Real America Voice.
Back when it's all done. But Kash Patel is going nowheres. And I think next week, over the next 10 days, the base who's been wondering, where's all that accountability? Yes, they're going to get some big surprises over the next week concerning where the conspiracy began a few weeks before Crossfire Hurricane was open, and when it ended, all the way in 2024, when they were still trying to pursue Donald Trump to keep him from winning the presidency. There's a big case that's been built by the Justice Department and the FBI. It's been masked by a lot of this infighting and drama and soap opera stuff, but the truth of the matter is MAGA base Americans are going to be happy when they see where this is all heading in the next few weeks. Kash Patel is going nowhere. I hope Dan Bongino isn't going anywhere, but I do think he's going to take some time over the weekend to think that through.
So apparently you're going to be excited if you're part of the MAGA base about how this all unfolds, because God, I hope so, man, because this rollout has not been good. I mean, this interview with Trump and Pam Bondi and him taking over from Pam Bondi in that question when she has not looked good all week. People are calling her Scam Bondi and saying all these things about her. But it is very interesting for me to watch, because I distinctly remember many prominent right-wing influencers that were very excited about Pam Bondi. Crowder, Benny Johnson. They were all telling us that she is going to kick and take names. And I remember when she first got floated as a name, my first thought was, I don't really know much about her. The only thing I do know about her, she has previous dealings with Epstein in the past, and I wondered how that was all going to play out before our eyes. And we kind of watched that, didn't we? I mean, I mean, everyone's calling her the next Fox News host, which makes total sense because she has blonde hair. But I think her credibility has gone out the window, maybe even for boomers that watch Fox News. I don't think she has much of a future in politics, but we'll see. We'll freaking see. Who's all behind this cover up? Who's all behind this entire thing? We'll get down to the bottom of it. But the American people need more information. See, the thing about the video that was given to us, I've done some more research on this video. I've had exclusive sources and I'm not going to name. I love when podcasts say that. That gets me jacked up. Whenever I hear podcasts say, I have exclusive sources and I'm not going to name them. I'm going to stay vague because I'm making this entire point up, but the information is true, but I'm going to say exclusive sources so you think that I am some kind of deep-seated source. The thing about the videos is this. The video was uploaded. The raw footage was uploaded regarding Epstein in the jail cell. But what if you look at the metadata that came from this raw footage, it was exported using Adobe Premiere. Okay, that's you putting raw footage in Adobe Premiere and then exporting it. So to say this is raw footage is a lie. No lawyer would use this raw footage in court. And so that is my biggest thing. When I saw that information being passed around that this video is not raw footage, even though they claimed it to be raw footage, the lies just compound and it's getting exhausting to even see. Even Charlie Kirk is coming out against this Epstein debacle and situation. You think Ronnie DeSantis is going to be the next AG? I see that speculation. I don't know, man. I don't know. I also saw that people are, because Matt Gaetz didn't come to TPUSA last night. A lot of people are speculating whether Matt Gaetz is going to be the next AG. I don't see that either. I think he has a kid on the way, but we'll see. What's up, Raul? Hope you're doing good, my friend. We'll see if Ronnie DeSantis becomes the next AG. I don't see it, but we'll see.
Tuesday.
Nothing's going on. Has anyone been on X in the past hour?
They're happy. That's why they haven't been on social media.
We'll update you.
Why don't you update them?
They're happy. That's why they haven't been on social media. That being said, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Should be Judge Janine. Oh God, yeah. We need to send in Judge Janine. Just her coming in there and just like, I looked at the Epstein files. Obvious connection to Mossad.
Megyn?
Good morning,
well,
Kristen.
This is the first big scandal, I'd say, of the Trump administration that's on Team Rational. It's not a fake media scandal like the left tries to create for President Trump every other day.
Exactly.
It's one of the right's own making, and it's not going well.
Exactly.
And it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah.
Boo.
Let me just ask you, make some noise if you care about the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Raise your hand if it matters a lot to you. Raise your hand. So every hand of 7,000 people.
Everybody cares.
Come on, Charlie. You got to sell these events. You have to say tens of thousands of people.
A lot. I said a lot. Every hand.
Here's what I think is happening. I don't think President Trump is focused on this. He's focused on a lot of other things which are going great, and he needs to be focused on those other things.
True.
Jeffrey Epstein's not the most important thing on his agenda by any stretch of the imagination. He's crushing it on the terror.
Even though, a lot of his base want it, he kind of pushed it a lot during his campaign. But you're right. It's not the most... It's not going to affect my life as much as closing the border, getting rid of illegal immigration, not having amnesty, helping the economy, helping lower housing prices, not getting us into foreign wars. That probably affects me more. You're right. But also, it's a big deal if somebody in our government that everybody knows about, and we're all pretending that he isn't a part of any intelligence agency. Remember, the lawyer that was a part of Epstein at the beginning in Florida did come out and say that he has ties to federal agencies and he's not allowed to touch this issue. Literally everyone cares about it. At least all of us on the internet. I don't know. I don't talk to a lot of normies who aren't on the internet, so I'm not totally sure if average human beings care about Epstein, but those of us that are pretty involved when it comes to politics, we're pretty keyed in on this story. And the fact that how it was rolled out is ridiculous. Again, the raw footage was edited. in Adobe Premiere, whether it was not edited in Adobe Premiere, they still exported it in Adobe Premiere. Also with the raw footage, I don't know if you guys know this, but the raw footage dimensions changed from Adobe Premiere a couple of times. If you watch the live video that they gave you, the dimensions change a couple of times. Whether that changes the video at all, I'm not totally sure. But why would you change dimensions? It's just everything about the Epstein thing is the most fishy thing ever. And everyone's blaming Pam Bondi, and she might be the scapegoat of this entire operation, or she might be the entire source of why this is all unfolded horribly. I can't tell what it is. Nobody knows. Everybody's assuming. Everybody thinks they have the scoop on this, but I hope we get down to the bottom. And I have a tendency to trust him a little bit more than Pam Bondi, because I was never a huge fan of Pam Bondi since day one. I just didn't think much of her, okay? I wasn't, you didn't see me with a picture of her being like, she's gonna own the libs. I present to you Pam Bondi wearing a Trump assassination never surrender shirt. America's next attorney general, fire. Okay.
Policy just got nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. If not Trump, then who? Honestly. Barack Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize after 9 months in office. He had done nothing. He gave a nice speech about Muslims and they gave it to him. So President Trump should be getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and there's all sorts of things he's focused on. I just don't think this has captured his attention quite yet. But it needs to, because it's starting to create a real hornet's nest within the administration. And I've got to be honest, I blame Pam Bondi. I'll tell you why.
Tell us,
okay?
Boo. Tell us, baby.
I have nothing. Yes, incompetence. Yes. I have nothing against Pam Bondi as a human being. I was fine with her nomination and her confirmation. And
What do you mean? I have everything against Pam Bondi as a human being. If it's her fault, you're freaking slimy.
Loyal to the president, and I get that President Trump needs a loyal attorney general. Look what happened with Sessions the first time. He went away, and then the next thing you know, we had the Mueller investigation, and it was a nightmare. But there are a lot of other people who can be loyal and competent in that job. Here, she is the reason that things are unraveling around this story right now that virtually all of the Republican Party cares deeply about.
Yes, because of the incident where she invited all the social media influencers, gave them all those gay binders. Gave them all those gay binders and put it up in the air, and they had that little photo moment. Whether it was organic or not organic, you can be the judge. They say it was just happenstance. We'll see, but like Pam Bondi has not been a good point.
It's also true that Dan Bongino and
Pam Bondi does look good for 60. She does have that going.
Kash Patel had questions about Epstein before they took office, okay, before they went into the FBI.
Yeah.
But once they joined the FBI, they said nothing.
Right.
They've kept their mouths shut about Epstein. You have not seen them, except for one joint appearance with Dan and Kash on Fox, running all over the media looking for attention on this, yes, clickbaity story.
A lot on Sean Hannity, but continue.
Who have you seen? Pam Bondi.
Yeah.
She has never missed an opportunity to go on television and dangle sweet nothings that might be coming your way.
I'm going to come.
Try to lead you to believe that she's got it. It's on her desk. It's coming tomorrow.
I'm going to come.
You're going to see something on Epstein. And it was a tease. So you either believe that Pam Bondi was telling the truth then.
What if somebody was going behind the scenes and making Pam Bondi look bad and she's creating the entire scapegoat? I'm not totally sure. But a lot of people are convinced it is her fault. A lot of people are convinced. I'm always one that holds judgment because none of us are actually in the organization and actually in the inner circles and having this conversation. But she does seem like the fault of this whole thing.
Or that she's telling the truth now. But
what's up, Ms. Berry?
Both cannot be true. She was either lying when she went on Fox News all those times saying, I've got it, we're looking at it, wait until you see it, it's horrible. Or she's lying in her 2-page memo that they released on a Sunday night at the tail end of a holiday weekend to Axios, as if Axios is where we all go for our news. Hell no. She went to someone.
Hell no. I go to Axios in the mornings. What does that mean about me?
She knew would not kick the tires on the story. and without signing the memo, dropped it.
Axios got the scoop on Epstein. Axios got the scoop on Dan Bongino wanting to quit. We're not going to Axios? Okay.
The dead of night and said, that's it. Take it. Take the crumbs and be happy.
Yeah.
Refused to come out and give a presser. Come out and give a press conference. Stand there for 6 hours to the point where people are dying of boredom. They've asked all their questions. That's how you put a scandal to rest.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't even sign her name to it. And I'm telling you, I have dollars to donuts. It's going to come out that there was internal consternation over that memo and whose name did and did not go on it and who it was and was not behind it.
Yeah.
And so now you have a situation where her words on the record on Fox News are diametrically opposed to what she put in this memo. She's embarrassed the president. She's embarrassed herself. And Dan and Kash, to the extent they've had to sign off on that, let's understand the FBI is controlled by the DOJ. FBI is subservient to DOJ. She's their boss. That they're in this position where the only comments they've made on the record as administration officials have been, we don't think he killed himself. And we don't think he got murdered. We think he did kill himself.
And just like that, YouTube is making this video 18 or older. God. Maybe Pam Bondi got there to make Trump's administration look bad, but maybe Pam Bondi is the poison pill. I'm not, or she might be the scapegoat. Who knows? Pam probably has more scar tissue than a burn victim that looked good at 60. Dang. Can't we all just get along since Satan taught me? We'll see what actually, over time, what actually happens with Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. That if Dan Bongino leaves the Trump administration and then Kash Patel apparently follows Dan Bongino, that is not going to look good. That is not going to look good at all. That the left has always said that Donald Trump puts really crappy people around him. And it proves the fact that Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing. And I've never agreed with that. But now, I've always thought that he has put a lot of crappy people around him. But I've never thought like he was doing it on purpose or whatever. But if Dan leaves and Kash leaves, two people that his base were very excited about him hiring, and Pam stays, man, that's going to be a bad look. It's going to be one of the worst looks in his administration for those of us that are chronically online. People, normies, won't care. The day will go on. They'll still continue doing what they're doing because they voted. And once they vote, they stop thinking about politics. I think people don't realize that a lot of people in the world don't actually care about politics after they vote anymore. They just live their life. And maybe that's a more peaceful life. But those of us that are kind of tapped in and are watching what's going on and a little bit on a different level, it's like when you go to a party. I don't know if you're like me. When I go to a party, people ask me about politics and I'm like, I'm always hesitant. I'm always like, how deep do you want to go? What? How far do you want to go? Do you even know about cloud seeding right now? And they'd be like, cloud seeding is a right-wing conspiracy. It's like, okay, I'm going to pull back a little bit. You're not even on the same level right now. So we'll figure out what's going on. I'm excited that Dan Bongino's threatening to quit. That says a lot. If this is true about him threatening to quit, obviously, he's not very excited about the rollout, and I'm sure he knows stuff. So we'll see what actually happens. Matt Gaetz for Comrade Director. Pam or Dan the fight is on. Who will Trump back, Pam or Dan? Exactly. Signed by Rodney King. All right, guys, I'm going to work. For those of us that work Saturdays, I salute you. We keep America running. We're the real backbone of America. We're the what they call people during COVID? Not mandatory. What did they call us? Essential workers. For those of us that are essential workers and we work on the weekends, have a wonderful day. And remember, this story is not going away. Even with Trump screaming and saying, are we still talking about this guy, this sicko? No, this story is not going away. And I think the administration is feeling the pressure. And I think this is the great thing about podcasts. This is the great thing about media not being just Fox News, NBC, where they can control the narrative and they can go, okay, Trump says we no longer need to talk about this. We're not going to talk about this. No. The podcast community is in control. we're still talking about this and we're still frustrated because a lot of us in the podcast community are autistic and we're not going to let it go. Thank you for being essential. Yeah, you're welcome. You could be essential so I don't have to be. You're welcome. Okay. Have a great day, guys. If you don't mind dropping a like on this video and putting a comment below, it helps the algorithms out, and I would greatly appreciate it. Make a difference in somebody's life today. And remember, don't let this the stuff that's going on in the news affect how you feel about today. Enjoy the day and hang out today. Have a good time with today. Enjoy people around you and make a difference in people's life. And live today like tomorrow you might not have. Have a great